If you're looking to generate leads using Google Ads, we're going to just walk you through everything you need to include in this video to run a successful campaign. Now, we're going to make separate videos with full tutorial guides going through all the steps, each individual step. But in this video, we're just going to walk you through everything that you need to include, just so you have a checklist that you can tick off, that you know that you've included everything that matters to be able to run a campaign successfully. And the first thing you want to do really is have a game plan in mind with, the core service that you want to go after. Because if you're a service-based business, then a lot of the time, you have one or two core services that are most profitable to you in terms of, how much the job's worth and maybe how long it takes to do. And once you have that core service or two services in mind, that's going to form the basis of our keyword research. So obviously you can use this process for any service-based business, but let's just say we're going to use it for a roofing company just because that's what we like to use as an example. The first thing you want to do to actually find the keywords that we're going to target is go to the keyword planner first of all and select the location that we want to target. So you never want to target by full country, but let's just say place name. So we can just say Dublin in this case. So we save the area. And once we've decided the core services that we want to run a campaign for, let's just say we want to focus mainly just on roof repair. So we can put in some roof repair related keywords. And maybe you want to appear for some general roofing related keywords as well if you offer all aspects of roofing. So you can say roofer near me, roofing company near me. And let's just say you want to focus on other repairs as well. So we could just say chimney repair near me as well. So let's just say you want to focus on those core three themes that we're going to revolve the campaign around. Then what we want to do is when we put in some relevant searches that are related to the types of keywords that you want to appear for, we're just going to press get results in the Google Keyword Planner then, and we're just going to get a lot of ideas for different keywords that we're going to target. And this is usually what you want to do at the very beginning before even starting any campaign. And for all the things that we mentioned in this video, like your keyword research, we have made separate videos on that go into a lot of these topics in more detail, but this is just more of a checklist for everything that you need to make sure you include to run a successful campaign. But what you want to do is when you have your list of keywords is the easiest way to go about separating them into separate ad groups based on intent is to just come over here and download them as a Google Sheet. And then what you can do yourself, what we like to do as well, is just make a separate Google Sheet then and make separate columns inside that Google Sheet. And once you've made a long list of all the keywords that you want to target, is that you can separate them into separate columns where all of the keywords in each column represent their own specific ad group. So that way then you know from the very beginning what the overall structure of the campaign is going to look like and what type of ads you're going to run and how you're going to separate those into specific ad groups. And one idea worth mentioning as well before we go into, actually creating our campaign is that if you wanted to have, everything organized in advance, is that in your spreadsheet as well, you can think of all the core benefits of what your service offers. So let's just say for a roofing company, you can add in things like, 20 plus years experience, satisfaction guarantee, fully certified and insured, quality craftsmanship, things like that. And that way, then we have a list of benefits that we can use in our headlines. And that way, then we have a lot of the background work done for our ad copy before we even actually start making the campaign. So that way, then when we go through making our campaign, we just have to plug in all of our keywords and benefits into our ad groups. So once you've done your keyword research and have all your keywords split up into separate ad groups and given yourself an idea of, what kind of benefits you're going to include in your ad copy, then you're going to come back to your account and inside the dashboard here, you should see the option to create a new campaign. And we're going to go with new campaign then. And just to quickly show you, some of the main steps that you have to include. So we're going to go with leads because we're running for lead generation, looking for phone calls and form submissions. And so you can leave these as is because we're going to set up our conversion tracking later. And we're going to set up a search campaign as well. There are other campaigns that can work well, including Performance Max, but they typically require a lot more data. So we're just going to use a search campaign, which any service-based business can start doing. Now we're going to run a regular search campaign, so we'll keep this blank as well because we're going to be able to fill in our ads as we go. But if you wanted to set up a call-only campaign, which I have a separate video on, you can choose phone calls here and put in your phone number, but we can just skip this step and press continue. And then we're just going to name the campaign something relevant. So you can say, search campaign for a company name is what you can name the campaign. And then just press continue and just start new campaign. And then just to give you an idea of the next steps that you'll have to put in, your next is your bidding strategy. And I have got a lot of content that goes into more detail on these, but in short, we usually recommend running with a maximize clicks bidding strategy at the very beginning and setting a maximum cost per click bid limit, which I've shown you how to do in more detail as well in a separate video if you'd like to check that out. But then once we have a decent amount of conversions, for example, at least 20 or so in the last 30 days, then that's when we can make a switch over to maximize conversions with a target CPA and then keep trying to bring it down our cost per lead month after month. And then for customer acquisition, you can just keep this blank. Now, what's also important is that you want to make sure that you have both of these unchecked because they just lead to very low quality traffic and you just want to avoid them at all costs unless you want to, get a lot of wasted spend for your budget. And also something to avoid wasted spend is in your location targeting, you need to just remember to go to location options and then just select presence instead of presence or interest. And obviously for entering your location then, instead of targeting all countries and territories, we're going to choose enter another location. And for this campaign, if we were running it just say for roofing in Dublin, for example, then we would enter Dublin, but you can obviously enter in whatever area or radius that you'd like to target. And then languages can usually be left blank, so we would go with English or whatever language that you'd be targeting. But the most important part is that you only want to target one language per campaign. So you don't want to target multiple languages. Next, then we come down to audience segments. And the key thing about audience segments is that it should be left to observation mode by default, but you just want to double check that. And as long as you have it set to observation mode, you should be good to go. And you can basically add in as many audiences as you like because all Google is going to do then is rather than target only those audiences, is that you can literally select all of these and you can just collect data on them all over time. And then if there's any specific audiences that are performing really well after a few months, then you can choose to target those specific audiences. But you can just leave this in observation mode for now to collect data on them. So you can just leave audience segments in observation mode for now. And then broad match keywords should be off by default, but you just want to make sure that that's still the case. And same with automatically created assets as well. You want to make sure that's turned off because we want to use our own ads and extensions and we don't want any being made automatically. And for the more settings down at the bottom, then we keep all as is, including ad rotation as optimized. And the only other thing we would change is our ad schedule because for any service-based business, we generally want to run our ads during the times of day where we would be able to respond to leads generally within, a half an hour or an hour at the latest. So if you know that, for example, you only, work during maybe 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, then that's what you should most likely set as your ad schedule. Whatever times of day that you know that if you get a lead, you'd be able to respond to them as quickly as possible, then those are the times of day that suits best. And it's up to you as well if you'd like to run your ads on weekends. It can be the case at times where, leads might have a lot more time on their hands, so they go shopping around with different companies. And on Mondays to Fridays, they generally tend to need the job done more. So that's something that might be worth testing. But you can just, start out with Monday to Friday and then add in weekends if you could do with the extra search volume. And then we just press next and you can skip the keyword and asset generation. And then this is where, having all of our keyword research and some of our ad copy prepared comes in handy because we just want to name our first ad group. So let's just say it can be roof repair, for example. And then we would enter in the keywords that we're going to be running for that ad group and also enter in our ad copy then as well. And generally good practice, when you're making a brand new campaign from scratch is having keyword focus in your headlines. So that way anybody sees the ads will find that they're highly relevant to what they search for. And then including benefits or reasons to buy is what you want to include as well, apart from your keyword focus. So some of the examples I gave, like fully certified and insured, 20 years experience, and so on. Obviously, a lot of these benefits can be relevant to any service-based business, but if you can think of any benefits that, make you really stand out from the crowd, then that's going to help you achieve a much higher click-through rate and just help you stand out a lot more from your competitors as well. So apart from identifying the problem with your keywords, giving reasons to buy by using benefits, you also want to give call to actions then. So for example, call us today for a free quote or schedule an assessment. So those are the three core aspects you want to include in your headlines and descriptions. And as you come down here then as well, you have the option to add in your extensions, but we're going to do that inside the campaign once we've published the initial setup. as it's easier than just adding it to the ad itself. So that way then we can add the extensions at the campaign level rather than the ad level, and we won't have to add, extensions over and over again. And then all you have to do is enter in your daily budget for the campaign. And what I'd recommend for this is enough daily budget so that you're going to be able to get at least 10 clicks per day. And you use the Google Ads keyword planner to determine, what on average can I expect to pay per click. And you want to give yourself enough daily budget to get about 10 clicks per day. Because assuming if you have a landing page that converts at about 10%, then that'll get you about one conversion per day. And then if you have about 30 conversions in 30 days, then that's generally enough conversion data to make the switch over to maximize conversions with, a target CPA bidding strategy. So the more flexible you're able to be with your bid and your budget, the quicker you're able to optimize and gather enough relevant conversion data early on. Now, apart from that, then once you've added in all the details that we just mentioned, you'll just have the option to publish your campaign. And once you publish your campaign, you will see that it's automatically enabled up here, but you just want to press pause straight away. Now, we're not going to do that in this case just because it's an active campaign that we're running, but you just want to pause it straight away while you go through the rest of the setup. So far we have the initial campaign setup done with one ad and one ad group. And what we want to do now is, first of all, is make sure that for the keywords that you're targeting for all of the campaigns is that you're targeting the right match type for your keywords. And what I recommend doing for service-based businesses to generate leads at the beginning is to use exact match keywords just to minimize the amount of, irrelevant search terms that you're eligible to appear for. And then once you have enough conversion data over time, and Google's AI has a lot more context as to, what users are more likely to result in leads, then you can loosen up the match types. And as you can see here, we're using a lot more phrase match keywords now that we have that conversion data. But what I'd recommend doing is once you have all of your keywords added and you want to just use exact match, for example, they might be broad match by default if you hadn't added the brackets around them, but you can just select all your keywords and then you have the option to change the match type of all of them without having to, add brackets manually or anything like that. And also once you come into your one ad group and one ad, you'll see that you just have one ad made so far. And what you can do with that ad as well is instead of having to, rewrite every single ad for your campaign, because let's say, for example, you want to run 5 ad groups with 3 separate ads in each ad group. So if you're running a campaign with 15 different ads, instead of having to, create a new ad each time, all you want to do is select the ad, press edit, copy, edit, paste. And then you'll basically have the option to copy and paste the ad and basically duplicate it. So that way then the same ad is going to be created and all you need to do is change around the headlines and descriptions in each case. So for the first ad group, you're going to want to have 3 separate ads, all with different headlines and descriptions for Google to A/B test. And over time, you're going to get data on which one performs the best. But once you have 3 ads in your first ad group, then what you can do then is come to your ad groups and start duplicating the ad groups themselves. So that way then once you have your ad group duplicated, the brand new ad group that you've made already has 3 ads written. And all you have to do is change around the keyword focus in each case. So let's say if we started out with a roof repair ad group and we just wanted to copy and paste it out to make a gutter cleaning ad group, then all we'd have to do is go into each of the 3 ads and swap out anywhere it says roof repair for gutter cleaning. And then we effectively have 3 brand new ads without having to rewrite them all from scratch. Now, what you also want to make sure you have set up correctly from the very beginning is conversion tracking. And to do that, you come over here to goals and then press under conversions, you just press summary. And like all the other things we're going through in this video, we have gone through these topics in a lot more detail individually in separate videos. But to generate leads for, any service-based business, it's usually form submissions, calls from the ad itself, whether, it's a call ad or a call extension, and then calls from the website as well are the 3 and only conversion actions in most cases that you'll need to track. And you just want to make sure that you have conversion tracking set up properly from the very beginning, because we want to be giving Google relevant data on, the types of leads that we're trying to attract. And we don't want to be telling Google that somebody landing on the contact page of our website, for example, should count as a conversion. when we only want phone calls and people actually contacting us about our services to count as a conversion in the first place. So giving Google that correct context from the beginning is crucial when it comes to optimizing our campaign and being able to switch over to a conversion based bidding strategy over time. And if you do need help with the setup of conversion tracking for any of these three types, we have separate videos made on all of those inside the channel as well if you'd like to take a look. And then what we want to do is make our landing page template covering all the essentials. And we have gone into much more detail on landing pages specifically in more recent videos if you'd like to check those out on how to make a high converting landing page. But as long as you have a solid landing page template from the very beginning and you're using a landing page over a general website, you're just going to achieve a much higher conversion rate by doing so. And all you need to do is have one solid landing page template. And what you can do then for each of the ad groups is just duplicate the landing page and change around the headline and some of the details down beneath to make it more relevant to the ad group in each case. Let's just say, to give you context, if we were running a campaign in Dublin, for example, we'd be able to keep that the same in each case. But what we'd be able to do to make the headlines highly relevant in each case is, for the general roofing ad group, we could have affordable and reliable roofing services in Dublin. And for the roof repair ad group, we could have roof repairs or roof repair services. And same with chimney repairs. You get the idea. But this way, we're able to make highly relevant headlines on our landing pages. And the most important part of a landing page is making the user feel like they're in the right place from the very beginning, along with your social proof and like trust signals, like what we went into in more detail on the most recent landing page video. But simply duplicating your landing pages and just changing around the headline in each case will make a huge difference to your overall conversion rate than if you just had one general landing page that tried to cover all your services or ad groups. And what you can do as well to make it even more relevant is like having a service section down here that goes into more detail on the specific service of that ad group as well. So that way then you're making highly relevant landing pages for every ad group, but it's not like you're making a brand new web page from scratch each time. And as well, you obviously just want to make sure that you have the conversion tracking set up correctly on the first template. And then all you need to do in each case is duplicate every landing page, and then they all have conversion tracking set up. And we made the mistake before of having to set up conversion tracking separately for every landing page. But if you just set it up correctly on the first one when you publish it, then all you need to do is keep duplicating that initial landing page without having to set up conversion tracking in each case. And once you've made your landing pages then and published them all, you just want to make sure that they're a suitable URL relevant to your website. And what we usually do is, use the original website name. So it could be, roofingcompany.com and then slash roof repair for the roof repair landing page, slash chimney repair for the chimney repair landing page, and so on. So that way then you have a URL that's still relevant to the overall website, but doesn't direct them to the general website. And once you've done that, then all you need to do is copy and paste each of those URLs into the separate ads, just to make sure that any traffic that each of the ad groups is getting is bringing them to the correct landing page. And what's also really useful to do in advance before launching your campaign as well is adding negatives in advance. So not just waiting until you've seen irrelevant search terms appear in your search terms report, but adding negatives in advance for search terms that you just know that you won't want to appear for is worth doing in advance to just reduce the amount of wasted spend you get from irrelevant searches seeing your ads. So for example, if you can gather a list of competitor names, DIY related searches, so things that indicate that the person might want to do the job themselves, so things like how to, or words like materials, and even a lot of cost based searches. So if you don't want to have anybody that's looking for the price or like the average cost of what something costs seeing your ads, because it's less high buying intent than keywords that indicate things like near me, then you can add all of those as negatives to your campaign in advance ahead of launching. And the last thing then that you want to do ahead of launching your campaign is making sure that you have all of the relevant assets or extensions added to your campaign. Because what assets and extensions are ways of making your ad bigger. And the bigger your ad is, the more likely it is to be clicked on, just because it takes up more space on the page and is just going to get more attention than if you only use your headlines and descriptions. And for any service-based business, just so that you know which assets are worth including, is that you could have separate images added at the ad group level for the different services that you offer, or images added to the campaign level. Let's say you have photos of the company van or your team, then those image assets perform really well. What you can include as well is your business name and business logo. Usually you just have to have the advertiser verification completed first, but once you do, you'll be able to add your name and logo. What are also really good to add as well is callouts. So basically, they're just a list of benefits of why they would choose you, where you can use all the benefits that we mentioned earlier in the video, and you can list out as many of these as you like and just add them. So any of the core benefits of why they would choose you, you can include as callouts. And then you have structured snippets as well, which you can add, where you can list features or categorize more of what you offer. For example, at the service level, you can add the list of services you offer or list the neighborhood, so the list of suburbs that you serve. And apart from that, then for service-based businesses, the only other asset that I'd add is your call extension. And you want to make sure that you have the conversion tracking set up correctly for that as well, where people can just call you directly from the ad, and those are usually the most high buying intent leads that convert into jobs at the highest rate. Because if they're calling you directly from the ad, then the chances are that they are looking to get the job done. Now, I hope this video helps when it comes to, everything you need to know to run a successful campaign inside Google Ads to generate leads. And we wanted to make this video to cover everything you need to know to run a campaign successfully while still keeping it somewhat concise so that you know exactly what you need to do to go ahead and make a campaign. And if there are any particular aspects of what we went through in this video that you'd like a more detailed insight on, we have made separate videos on the channel that go into each of those in more detail. And if you do have any questions about anything we mentioned in this video or anything related to Google Ads at all in general, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you do like this kind of Google Ads related content as well, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And hopefully we'll see you in the next video.